on YouTube and Facebook. And we are live. 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 Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Wednesday night, so it's time for Hits and Heels. I'm Coach Terry Bryant out of Lexington, Kentucky. I created Hits and Heels with my co-host Danny Wright because I'm actually a football coach and I coach middle school and I coach women's tackle football team. That's why I called it Hits and Heels. But I'm also on the board of the Lexington African American Sports Hall of Fame, which is probably one of my biggest projects that I love happening. We have our gala coming up, and so I'll talk about that at the end. But one of the things that I absolutely love doing is showcasing legendary females in leadership positions or athletes. And we have Dr. Karen Hall today, and she is going to come and talk about her 10 tremendous leadership on her book. And so we're going to talk about that, and I can't wait. And Monique is already on here. Monique, thank you for connecting Dr. Hall with us together and having her on here today, because I'm so excited to hear about what she's going to talk about, because leadership is absolutely something that I think everybody kind of misses the ball on. So Dr. Karen, go ahead and tell us about yourself, and then definitely hook us up with some tips from your book.
Okay. Well, Coach Terry, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here tonight, and I love leadership. So one of my main mantras is that leadership is real. Oh my goodness. And leadership from the top, people, has nothing to do with your position. I don't care if you're CEO, I don't care if you're director, and even coach. If you are not influencing, you are not leading.
Ooh.
I'm dropping it quick. Sizzle,
Oh yeah,
sizzle.
you just dropped that real quick.
Yeah. Because often people say, well, I want to be the top of the chain because then I can tell people what to do. Well, telling people what to do is not influencing, impacting anyone. All it is doing is aggravating. And it's for some people, it may be, hey, you hired me for this skill set, value what I bring to you, and let me do it. That's what leadership is. And then they influence and show you other ways, different ways in which that can be done. Right. So my background, I navigate 4 careers. 4. Still working on another one. But it's education. I'm a professor. Athletics, so former collegiate head coach, 20 plus years, all over the country back. Communications, ESPN3 color analyst, and also a local color analyst here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I do leadership, right? So all that, and at the middle of all that is athletics. Like I found a way to integrate my passion for athletics. I played my collegiate career at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, UNLV, Lady Rebel.
UNLV, baby.
That's right. That's right. But it's the people we surround ourselves. Like we grow up and you get the players that you played with, the coaches that are coaching you, and you hear all different mindsets, right? And one thing I can say for me, I literally, as I look back, was around high performing level players and coaches. High performing levels and players and coaches. What do I mean by that? It's a work ethic. And first, though, Coach Terry, it's the mindset.
Every time. The
Oh,
game is mental.
oh. If you don't have it here in terms of how you think, one, about you, how you think about your preparation, and how you think about how you're going to go perform, you're not ready.
Mm.
You're not ready. Coaches can do all they can, and we're your coach. I'm a former coach. We can do all the things, the strategy to get our players ready. But if you're not mindful, it's not going to happen for you. It's not going to be happen. So then we say, I use the word accountable. Leadership and accountability, they got to go together. They got to go together. I'm dropping gems, people. So
You're dropping them.
hang with me because leaders are accountable. We're coaches. When we make mistakes, we
It's
literally
on
got to
us.
say it's on us.
It's on us.
And with
When we
athletics,
lose, it's on us. When
it's
we
on
win,
us.
it's on the players.
Exactly. But how about in athletics? You cannot hide. You cannot hide. You can't hide your high performing play. You can't hide when you're struggling. You can't hide when you're hitting walls. And then you can't hide when you're in the zone. It is for everyone to see. And we know all these bleacher coaches and these water cooler
Ooh,
coaches,
child, I just want to hit them right here.
they got everything to say. But
Yes.
holding that position of influence is real because your players are looking at you, your administration is looking at you, and the head coaches you hire, they have to reflect you and your mindset. The coaches you hire, what do you want? Do you want moderate? Then you hire those type of coaches. You want low level? You hire those type of coaches. But if you want, I'm gonna say it all night tonight. If you want to hire high performing coaches, you need to find coaches who have won championships, who talk like it, walk like it, and they bring it. That's how you influence, impact other players and in the corporate world, the people around you. We don't know everything. If you're the smartest person in the room, guess what?
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong and you in the wrong room. You
Mhm.
need to do, in my world, a fast break about in that room. Right, left, or middle. You need to take one of those lanes and get up out of there. Right. So one of the big things that I always look about, and when you talk about leadership in sports and life, relationships.
Is that number one?
It's number one.
Yes.
Number one. Well, okay, let me call it 30. Leadership is number one because it's at the top of the chain.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
It starts with the leadership. Because if the leadership isn't in that mindset, then the relationships from the beginning is going to go awry.
Yes.
It's going to go awry. So leadership is always one. And then you have relationships. And relationships are based on getting to know people. That's all it really is. And meeting people where they are. And one of the big words, the respect word. We're all different. It's what makes the world go round. So if I just get to know you, not put you in a box because you're a post player and that's the only position you can play, but I'm losing you because you can go away from the basket and shoot it, right? So the skill set. But I have to have that conversation. I have to know that about you. And you have to, number 2 or 3, 2A, you got to trust me. You got to trust. So you got the leadership, influence, impact. You got relationships. Then you got to trust me. Then you got to trust the people around you, right? And your assistant coaches or your VPs, the director level, they got to trust the leadership. Once you get that, guess what's next, coach? Culture.
Oh, culture. Okay.
Got to build the culture. I'm leading up to something.
I know, and I love it.
I'm leading up to it, right? So
Right.
the culture. If you got everybody buying in, everyone wants to play over here on this team, everyone wants to play for that coach, it's the culture.
It's the culture.
You got respect in there, you got relationships in there, you got the leadership, and everybody's meeting where everyone is. And everyone has the same mindset. Like we're all thinking about winning. We're all prepared to work to win. I'm working up to something. I'm about to drop it.
I can't wait. Drop it.
I'm in Pittsburgh, okay? That's almost I'm in Pittsburgh.
You're in Pittsburgh, okay?
I'm about to go there.
Because you're in Pittsburgh, and I'm just gonna say I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. But when I tell you I love me some Mike Tomlin, and if you ever get an opportunity to meet him, tell him I want to meet him, and I want to meet his wife and shop at her shop.
Her shop's right here in the city. Yeah, it's right here in the city. You come to Pittsburgh, look me up, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because bingo or 3-pointer and one, I was going right there to head coach Mike Tomlin. Nationwide, you hear it all the time. Players want to play for Coach Tomlin.
Yes.
He respects his men. They're not boys, they're not college. He talks in terms of men.
Yes.
That they are doing what they're supposed to do when not the men have to be held accountable and responsible. And one of his favorite lines, he has a few favorite lines. I'll start with the first one that I love. Right? This is Mike Tomlin's lines, not mine. He says, listening is a skill. And we all have to do better in it. So we're having this communication, right? In my book, chapter 10 says communication, say what you mean what you say. That's the name of the chapter. But you have to listen intently, not listen to respond. You gotta listen intently, get the message.
Right.
absorb it, right? And then respond. Or you know what? Sometimes, coach, there is no response. Sometimes you just listen and take it,
And
digest it,
just
and then implement
process it.
and go with it. And go
Yes,
with it.
ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah. Then Coach Tomlin, he is one of his favorite lines. He goes, "Next man up." Next man up. So he says that oftentimes when he's being interviewed, and perhaps there's an injury or someone was taken out of the game. Well, you play the game so that you can get in the game. So Coach Tomlin isn't stuck on who his players are. He's stuck on who can get it done. It's the nature of the business.
Yes.
But it's next man up. So when guys go in to play for coach and they perform, they've been prepared. They've been ready. Their number's been called, and they've been being prepared to produce. That's what athletics is. We produce. Everybody can see it.
And if you don't produce, it's got to be next man up, or I got to find somebody else that's going to do it. And sometimes that hurts players' feelings, but that's part of the nature of it.
Yes, but we're talking about leadership, though, right? So I just talked about Coach Tomlin, but above him, though, his leadership can work because his ownership, the Rooney.
Oh my God!
Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
Because perfect example. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I feel like our ownership is trash. And I normally don't bash anybody on my page, but this is my team I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I feel like he micromanages, and he doesn't. It's like he has to be in charge, and he has to make all decisions instead of trusting the leadership of his coaches. So he prefers those coaches that are just going to be yes men to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on.
But if you're a owner such as Pittsburgh's owner, you don't have to micromanage because you've already brought a great leadership in, and so now you can just trust him, and you could just trust the process.
Bingo, trust the process. But the Pittsburgh ownership, so we'll start like at the 68, 70s. They literally had three head coaches.
Yes.
All Super Bowl winning coaches. Chuck Noll, 22 years at the helm. 22. 4 Super Bowls. Bill Cowher, 14. 2 Super Bowls. Now here we go. Coach Tomlin entering his 18th season.
18th year. No losing
record. Now, that is high performing. But a head coach can only get there when there's leadership of the ownership. There's a relationship between the two, right? And there's the level of communication and trust is there. Coach Tomlin does not have to look behind his back. He doesn't have to coach against the wall because good, better, and different, the ownership believes in his leadership, and outwardly that we see, they come across like, yep, he's our guy. He's our guy. That is real leadership. You know, in my book, I talked about the then New England Patriots with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick because they literally sustained it.
Right.
And Bill and Kraft, the owner. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, 22, 14, 18, and that's just from the 70s up. Really, it was like 1931, I think the franchise started. And in 41, the name went from the Pittsburgh Pirates to the Pittsburgh Steelers in lieu of the Pittsburgh Steelers blue collar, steel town, steel mills. So the history is real with the Steelers, but they built it the right way. What do they say, Coach? If you build it, what? They will come.
They will come. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love Tom Brady. I love me some Tom Brady. I think he's I felt like he was a great leader because when he left, he still was able to have that same type of success. Whereas, okay, so was it Belichick or was it Tom Brady? Because everything fell off after Tom Brady left with the Patriots. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, what was it actually Tom Brady and his leadership to be able to rally the other players and make them better, kind of like a Michael Jordan did, where he made other players better around him. But just like with the Bulls, when the leadership at the top
Mm-hmm.
started messing with things,
Yeah.
then the franchise started falling apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is great stuff. That is
Well,
great stuff. And so I'm at the school level. And I can say when we have an administration that likes sports, the school, and this is district wide, the schools are more successful, and you can tell the schools that are more successful because the leadership values sports. But when the leadership doesn't value sports, the sports suffer.
yes. Yes. Value is the key word. Value. If there's no value at the top, it doesn't matter what kind of coach you have, how passionate that coach is, it's not going to work because the leadership needs to be able to embrace it, support it, give it what it needs, give everyone, players, parents, everyone what they need. And then it flourishes and it attracts kids to schools. It attracts kids to school.
Yes.
The leadership and how leadership runs, it doesn't change at levels. It's truly the same at levels. It's just who, or is it middle school? Is it high school? Is it college? What level of college? Is it corporate? Is it at the executive level? Because oftentimes we see executives making decisions for the workers when they've never been in that seat.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
I worked in corporate America in that situation, and it's like you guys have no clue what's going on at this level, and you're making decisions that you have no idea what you're talking about. Oh yes, ma'am, you hit that dead on the nose. Great, Jim.
Yeah, yeah. And in leadership, we're all different kind of leaders, right? We're all leaders, but we're different kind. But whether you're the silent leader, you yell, whatever. Somewhere along your leadership line, you got to find your voice, coach. You got to find your voice. Everyone doesn't pay attention to all the nonverbal cues.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? In life, things happen quick. So you got to speak up. Like our texting, it works. But sometimes you got to pick up that phone to communicate that clearly. Because we know in texting, it depends on what kind of day I'm having and how I interpret it.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I've definitely gotten caught up with some friendships that, kind of went south, or conversations that went south because something was totally taken out of context, because you couldn't interpret the tone, or I couldn't interpret their tone, or exactly where they were coming from, or like you said, or maybe I was just in feeling some type of way that oh yes ma'am, yes ma'am, yes ma'am.
So what we're talking about, it is not new. This isn't new. But there's more of a concentrated effort on leadership and tying it in with mindfulness, because we have all these mental conversations, and then the whole diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'll go back to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Rooney Rule. Where did that come from? The Rooneys, the Rooney family, because they seen that, hey, no opportunities were being given. And if they're creating this Rooney Rule where you have to have candidates to interview, and if they don't follow their own rule, poor leadership, right? That's an example of, in this case, great leadership, because not only did they create the rule, but today they live the rule.
I think they're the only team that lives the rule.
Yeah. But let me tell you how deep the Coach Tomlin history is. So he was an assistant at Tampa Bay. They won a Super Bowl there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
He was under Tony Dungy. And guess where Tony Dungy played? Pittsburgh Steelers. Guess where he started coaching? With the Pittsburgh Steelers. They often say the Steeler way, like Steeler Nation, like the fan base, but the Pittsburgh Steeler way. So you got to coach Tomlin under the leadership of someone who played for Chuck Noll, right? Who embraced and took in all the lessons that we learn as an athlete, as a professional. And I'll tell you one thing about Coach Tomlin, the media. You know how brutal the media can be, right?
Yes, because I've had to learn to stay off of social media because I've been on several where they, of course, they felt like, okay, he's time for him to be fired. And I'm like, how do you fire a coach
Yeah.
that has won Super Bowls but
Yeah.
has never had a losing season? That
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So he is so great with short, as I say, brief and brilliant answers. And you know, the media wants you to get long winded because then they can
Yes,
try
ma'am.
to find some more wiggle room
Hmm.
to kind of touch buttons. Not at all. And I said to myself, that's a lesson for all of us.
Yes.
That's a lesson. Like that's a media lesson in how to handle the media. Because to your point, here in Pittsburgh, oh my God, get rid of Coach Tomlin. It's been long enough. We need new, fresh ideas. The, when you watch the Pittsburgh Steelers play, you will hear the play-by-play and the color analysts always talking about players who want to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers from other teams. I've never seen a coach, football coach, and I'm like you, I love the Cowboys too, but I live in Pittsburgh, right?
I didn't know that.
I had to throw it in there, right?
How
Because
do you not be a
people,
Pittsburgh fan living in Pittsburgh
no,
with Mike Tomlin?
I'm loving Coach Tomlin though. Like I'm loving
Yeah.
Coach Tomlin, right? Because you know what, leadership. You meet people where they are. He treats his players like men. These are grown men with families. They have responsibilities outside of the game, and he treats them like men. Oh my God, Alvin Brown, you're absolutely right. Right, started one of the first black quarterbacks in in Pittsburgh, Chuck Noll. The history here is so rich. I always say like Pittsburgh is like the staple
Yes.
of professional football. And
Yes.
when you sustain high performance championship levels, even if you're not winning championships, you're always in the conversation. Yeah.
Always. I mean, even last season when you didn't think that they were going to make it and they made it into the playoffs.
Yeah. Now look at that. Why was that? Right? Why? Okay, what the light switch went off? You could say that. But something was happening in that locker room, that leadership, something would happen with the leadership and the players in that locker room. And one thing about most of the Pittsburgh Steelers, what goes on in that locker room, cardinal rule, right?
Stays
Stays
in
in
the
that.
locker room.
That's healthy culture. I'm telling you, leadership, relationships, culture. You got to have the players too. In this case, like the draft. But that's all um those factors as well. You got to have those. And the coaches, head coach in particular, they have to find their voice. They have to exercise that voice to get what they know they need. What ingredient of a player do they need to take them that next step in all teams? But we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we can go back to the '70 Cowboys when Tom Landry in the shadow of his hat.
Absolutely.
We can go back to Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. They
Yes.
they call it that charisma, that tangible, that intangible that you can't touch. You know there's
Yes.
something sizzling in their good, but you
Yes.
can't touch it. We got a
Absolutely.
Pittsburgh Steelers fan in Alvin Brown because he's all about
I'm not mad. And then
yeah,
I tease everybody all the time that it's so easy to be a Steelers fan
yeah,
because they've been winning 17 years straight. I mean, they haven't had a losing season. I mean, they've only not made the playoffs, what, maybe twice in the last 17
yeah. I
years.
mean, it's been so rare that
It's been so rare
yeah,
that yes, it's just insignificant. So how can you not be a
yeah.
Steelers fan?
But
So
it's
we
legacy
tell
of
people
the
all the
Steelers.
time, it's hard being a Cowboys fan, but I'm gonna still stay
Well,
a Cowboys fan.
today it is. We're loyal, but today because Jerry. But take a look at the difference, though. Take a look
Yes,
at the leadership styles.
yes,
Now, someone on here said that's command and control. That's a Jerry
yes.
Jones. Jerry wants
That's
to be
Jerry
the
Jones,
president. He's the
the
owner, president.
CEO, the
Yeah.
owner.
He
Yeah,
wants to be the media
he's the top
spokesperson.
scout.
Yep.
He's
I'm
the
like,
recruiter. He's
yeah,
everything. Yes,
yeah. And then you look at a Mike Tomlin. He lets people do their job. All he wants to focus on is what
it's
he
coaching.
loves and does best is being the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got a trivia question. It's not mine though. I got to give a shout out to Coach Eddie Benton, right? Coach Benton, head coach at Robert Morris University. So here's the trivia for the listeners. So on the helmet, you have 3 triangles: red, blue, and yellow. What does that represent? That's the trivia. We can keep talking. Maybe somebody can come up, and don't be trying to Google it, you guys that are out there, because I know those thumbs went to work. Don't
Right.
even try that. And I'll tell you at the end if we don't see anybody answering that. But we
Okay.
just take a look at the leadership styles. Take a look at Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick. Mike Tomlin was like cool, collected on the sideline. He's not running up and down the sides, right? Belichick wasn't up and down the sides as well, but he was kind of vocal, right? He was kind of vocal. And if we go to the passion that I love, like basketball, right? So you had your Pat Summitt, God rest her soul, right?
Yes, ma'am.
She was like the epitome of a Mike Tomlin, Chuck
Yes.
Noll, high performing championship level at the collegiate level. At the collegiate level. Her coaching tree, she has antennas today all over the place.
Yes.
Corporate America, WNBA, her legacy lives.
Legacy. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, her legacy lives. Right? So today you would say a Dawn Staley. Right? So same way. She has a big tree. She has branches and tentacles in all the areas I just mentioned. But let's go back to the factors of leadership. Her leadership, her ability to garner tremendous relationships. Her culture has to be off the charts.
Off the charts.
Off the charts. Right?
Yes.
And then her recruiting. So, but it's the coaches she hires. It all goes together, Coach Terry.
It does.
It all goes together.
It does. I definitely don't take it lightly when I'm on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
I don't take that lightly. I don't take that lightly at all. Because even on a championship, I coached girls basketball and I also coached track. As the girls basketball coach, I was the head, but my assistant coach was absolutely phenomenal with helping me and helping us to get to that level. And then I was an assistant coach when we won 2 state championships and the city championship in track. But his leadership I had no problem leading up under him. His leadership was absolutely unbelievable. And then even now, with my husband, we coach together on football team. We've been to 3 championship games in 5 seasons and with a new team every year. And this is football. And so, but his leadership is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Okay, so let's go a little further. What characteristics are you seeing in that leadership? I talk about influence and impacting. What else are you seeing under his leadership?
I think it's more the impact. Like when for instance, we had a Dirt Bowl game, Super Sunday, a couple of weeks ago, and then there was a guy that was there, and he was like, "I am just so thankful of you, coach, because you gave me an example." And it wasn't even just the coaching, just an example of how to be a father to my son when I didn't have an example for myself. And just I'm able to just be a father to my son because of you. And we were both just almost in tears because of that impact. Because now, I mean, you know, the impact that we have of fatherless children, period. Yeah. And now, you know, hopefully that particular family was able to kind of break those, you know, just those generational curses from my husband's impact and because he's not just a coach, right? You know, you're also a father figure. And I thought that was just huge. And it's just so hard not to admire that. But you see that in Mike Tomlin. I don't necessarily see that in like, the only thing I see in Jerry Jones is somehow this is hard to do. It's very difficult to get your children to fall in line with what you're doing and to succeed what you're doing. Because sometimes that breaks up families. Right. Sometimes it breaks your family up when you bring your family into the family business because you're kind of forcing it to. So I would love to know what kind of mindset that he taught his children early enough where they totally bought into the family business. But what I love about Mike Tomlin is that even though he was young and he came in young,
Yes, he did. 34 years old.
34 years old, it's like he was an old soul already. And so he still was able to be an impact as a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And now they can look at him almost like at that father figure that they don't have because he's a great example.
Well, and to your point, I know we hear all about Antonio Brown and all his, things happening with him. But when he played here, he made it known that Mike Tomlin was like a father to him.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's beyond coaching. That's
beyond coaching.
Yeah.
That's beyond coaching.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, and we can go to college. Like you can take a young girl. She's 18 when she gets there. We're still in our sweats and we just want to be sweating tennis shoes and hair all crazy. But the leader and the coaches, they're teaching you how to, when you go out after you're done with practice game, put on a pair of slacks.
Yes.
Fix your hair up.
Don't be walking out in no bonnet and no all that type of stuff or whatever and looking all any old kind of way. We're not doing all that.
Right.
So
right.
Yes. Your presentation outside is everything.
Yes.
And even though you hate it, people are going to judge you based off of how you look. And I'm not, and I try to teach my girls, I'm not asking you to people please, but don't make life way harder than what it needs to be because, you want to be you, but you're also representing your family. You're representing our organization. It's more than you. We play for the name on the front, not the name on the back. And so that's where it's got to go. There is a lot of information in the chat, Coach, that I have told Dr. Hall. I'm calling you Coach because I know you coach for years.
Love it.
And I want to make sure that I don't miss these because Mr. Brown really threw some stuff in here. He talked about in the 70s, the Steelers had the best offense and defense, named the Steel Curtain. Okay. He also said that Dallas and Pittsburgh played in 2 great Super Bowls with the unbelievable Lynn Swann catches. Those were some great games. Absolutely. Why was the stadium called Three Rivers Stadium back in the day?
Okay, so listen, don't go Google. I'm not going to tell you yet. There's 3 rivers. So what are those 3 rivers called? Because that's the main reason why it was called.
Oh, you asked that one question?
Yeah, because he's asking us, why was the stadium called Three Rivers Stadium? It's the Three Rivers Stadium was built on the rivers, the 3 rivers, but they have names to them. So Mr. Brown, go back and find those names of the 3 rivers because they're still here today.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's there's names of 3 rivers that the stadium was built on. 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
I can't give that away. All right. So like I said, Mr. Brown, he's a total Steeler fan. We didn't even talk about names.
Yeah. So Franco Harris reception against Oakland endeared football fans to professional football to include the Steelers. And I'm glad he mentioned Franco Harris because so the team that so you guys have the Pittsburgh Passion there, the women's tackle football team there. And in our league, Franco Harris is one of the only, God rest his soul, one of the only, he actually had was one of our sponsors in our league, the Women's Football Alliance. And God rest his soul that he was one of our big and of course he mentions Hall of Famer Damani Dawson, who is one of our great friends, and we just inducted him into our local Hall of Fame here in Lexington.
Nice.
And absolutely fantastic guy. His story is absolutely fantastic. And so Charity Ford, what's the difference in a Don Staley and a Tomlin?
Well, so
she said that's the difference in a Don Staley. That's the difference in a Don Staley. Yes, absolutely, Charity. Yes. And she says that Deion Sanders needs to take notes.
But listen now, leadership comes in all different packages. So I talked about my chapter 10, say what you mean what you say. That is Deion Sanders.
That's Deion Sanders. Yes, absolutely.
He went into Colorado. He goes, y'all might as well just all jump in the portal.
Absolutely.
He said it. On it. That's leadership.
He said people didn't like it. I'm bringing the Louis.
Yeah. People didn't like what he said, but he was open and he was honest about it. And guess what happened? A lot of those players jumped in the portal. So it comes in all different ways. We're all different kind of leaders, right? And in I refer to chapter 10 because communication is so huge in leadership. And passive aggressive leaders, that's very difficult to work with. Very difficult to work with. Passive aggressive. There's that word appease. When you talk about passive aggressive, you don't want to make others feel better opposed to really telling them what they need to hear. But people cannot grow without truth. Truth is hard for all of us to hear. It's
It
hard.
is.
But what you do with that person who tells you the truth, you will always have that one person to tell you. Here, listen, you and I can relate. This is a story that we all go through, or all of us. You go to a great restaurant, you're eating, and you're laughing and smiling, but there's food stuck in your teeth. No one tells you.
Nobody tells you until you get into a mirror and you're like, oh my God, I done had this sitting in my teeth and nobody told me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or flip it the other way, same scenario, but one person tells you at that table. How grateful are you to that person?
Absolutely.
Right? Because you can't see it. You can't see it, but they
You
can.
can't see it. Yes.
And instead of allowing you to sit there really embarrassing yourself, they just politely whisper over. They might send you a text, but you get the message.
Yes,
You get the
ma'am.
message. Or
Yes,
if
ma'am.
you have women have lipstick on their teeth,
Mm-hmm.
don't let someone just keep talking with the beautiful red shade, whatever.
Right.
Tell them that is a leader. It doesn't stamp you executive director. See, it doesn't. Leaders influence. Someone telling you about the examples we told you, that's influencing, that's impacting in how you can continue a conversation. Those are small gems that are huge, huge. So this whole, go ahead.
So okay, you just brought up something that was really huge for me because I was just only in my first year of coaching the women's team. Of course, I'm their first women's coach, so they're not used to women's coaching football. And I'm trying to think what my leadership style is. I'm probably like a Pat Summitt type of a leader. I'm real direct. I'm intense. I tell it like it is. And so I had one player, and I told her, I said, your IQ is absolutely outstanding. I said, but your skill set doesn't match your IQ on the field. And when you would have, and she thought I told her she was trash.
Yeah.
She thought I told her she was trash. And so then now I pull back because I'm like, well, how do I tell someone that? Because I'm like, how do I sugarcoat something like that? Like, how do you sugarcoat it?
No.
And I don't want to, but I don't want to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, authenticity behind the mask. Coaches cannot have masks. You can't have a mask on. Coach, you got to be as authentic as you are. Otherwise, you're not impacting your player. Now, you've seen that the player reacted in a way that wasn't going to help you perform, your team perform well. And I call it just shutdown these days. So now you got to pull that aside now because there's something going on in her mind about what you just said. Complimented the IQ, but the skill set, we got to get there to match it. She took it crazy.
Yes, ma'am. She did. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So you got to pull that in now. You got to pull her in and say, when I said that, where did you go? Because you got to find out where she went to help pull her back. But you can't say, well, oh God, I got sugarcoat how that comes out next time.
Yeah, I felt like her reaction was good because it made her work harder in the off season. Yeah, harder than she ever did. She never was in the gym before, so she started doing some things that she wasn't doing before. So she did use it to kind of propel her. But at first, I thought it was bad at first because I was like, oh my goodness gracious, I'm getting blocked and deleted and cussed out and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? And so and I was like, okay, so I guess it's really different coaching women than it is coaching men.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have the men's basketball coaching experience both at the NCAA Division III and in the infamous Connie Hawkins Summer Basketball League, right? Connie Hawkins was a professional, played it for the Phoenix Suns. And in his league, everyone was older than me. I stand 5'4". But the minute I opened my mouth about the game of basketball, the gender went away. But here's the difference between men and women. So you said that to your player. I could say the same thing as intense as I want. It just rolls down their back because all they want to do is get back in the game.
Yes.
That's what I found. I mean, because we get along really well because I'm intense, right? And I just say what I mean what I say. And, as coaches, we start to talk fast.
Yes.
All they were like, okay, she done. And then they went back in the game. But they implemented what I was saying. But that, to me, the game's the same. The rules of the game are the same. But the mindset is the biggest difference. Because you have women who are hard. It wouldn't phase them one bit. You probably have players like that.
I had a couple of players that were like that. That it didn't matter what I said. They were good.
They elevate when you say that to them.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're not saying that it doesn't exist on both sides. It does. But that truly is one of the biggest difference when you coach men and when you coach women. Men just want to play. Okay, I heard what they said. Okay.
Let's just get back in the game.
Let's just get back to the game. Right? But you'll have a couple guys that you'll see the facials. You got to pull to the side, got to take them out for a minute. It's the same. But I'm telling you, Coach, authenticity has to be at the forefront. Has to be at the forefront. Mike Tomlin, when he gets moved on the field, you can see it. He doesn't try to, okay, well, people are watching.
People are watching. Let me stay cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
I love when he shows emotion. Even when he's upset, he'll show he's shown some emotion if he's not happy about something.
But when he is happy, he's high-fiving his time.
Yes.
Like you can see the relationship.
Absolutely.
You can see the relationship. They come up and bear hug him.
I want to meet him so bad.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Come on to Pittsburgh.
I am.
I got some people that can help.
Matter of fact, girl, the Cowboys, don't we play that? We play that this year.
I don't know. Look,
I think we do. I think Cowboys play in Pittsburgh this year.
Well,
I gotta make sure it's not too cold, girl, because I'm not getting ready to go sit out there in the cold up there with y'all.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna fool with y'all up in there in the cold.
Yeah, but I mean, it all falls under the leadership umbrella. It all does. It starts with who we are. I always say when I sign my book, you are how you lead. But that means you have to be aware of who you are. Investigate your own personality. Because I'm dropping. I've just been trying to.
That is good.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise you don't know how you lead.
Investigate your own personality.
Investigate your own personality.
Oh, that's good. Somebody needs to drop that in the chat.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're not really know how you lead. Like, how do I lead? One day I lead like this. I lead from what they say next time. And then it confuses players. Because now they don't know which coach is showing up. We've all had those kind of coaches somewhere along the line. You didn't know, okay, they must be in a good mood today because they're coming in loud. Right. But coaches who just come like this every day, that's just how they are.
How they are.
Right? When they don't
they're consistent.
Get firm. They said Coach Vivian Stringer, she never yelled. Right? She was very mild-mannered. She didn't speak loud. But it was like kind of E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton spoke, everybody listened. It was kind of like that, right? But she wasn't a screamer, right? John Chaney, for those that remember John Chaney at Temple.
He was off the chain.
Oh, my goodness.
Bobby Knight was off the chain. Yes. Bobby Knight was off the chain. Yes.
But it's
they throwing chairs and tearing up stuff and punching, hitting you in the throat and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but you have to look at the leadership stuff. But they didn't change it, though, did they? They were authentic.
They didn't change
their leadership style. They were
still servant leaders.
They were still servant leaders. They were still impacting their men. Women coaches are still impacting their women. Look at the Olympics. Take a look at the Olympics, right? So you can go to the swimmers. You can go to the track and field. You can go to any sport. What we've seen was a combination of all those Olympians, all those impact coaches that dropped their finger on them in some regard. It just touched them and it all came together. It all came together. And then I was talking about the media earlier. As excited as they were to win the gold or whatever medal, you could hear them. They were composed and they were authentic in their space of, yeah, I worked hard for this.
Yes.
They said it. They put in the time. When we're all sleeping, they were out on the track.
Yes.
We're sleeping at 5 a.m. They were in the pool. And they made note of that. That to me is impact. Those are lessons that if we were really listening to it just outside the sports, they were dropping major lessons to the country when they were speaking about the winning. And then we seen the agony of defeats too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no one got up screaming, shouting, as I call them, adult tantrums. The spirit of competition, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. That's athletics. That's really life as well.
It's
you
life.
Get hired, you get fired, or you resign and go to another job. It's all woven into how you are as a leader and how will you respond. Another chapter of mine, attitude dictates altitude.
Yes.
Attitude dictates altitude. Is it consistent? Do we know how they're going to respond when they win? Do we know how they're going to respond when they hit a wall? When they're not playing well? Are they going to shut down? It's the attitude. It's not other people. That's another chapter. No more excuses. Eliminate excuses. No more excuses. I can't say it's your fault. It's me. It comes right back to me. I'm a point guard. If I got 10 turnovers, we probably lost. 10 turnovers in 40 minutes. Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
But I have to recognize, as you said to your player, I got to get back in the gym. I got to get back with my position coach. But my attitude and my mentality has to remain on a high road. Okay? I got to be positive in my thought process because it's gone. I can't get it back. So I want to get to the top of the mountain, coach. I got to keep working. I got to be coachable. Got to be coachable in life. And as leaders, we all have to be coachable.
So as leaders, I think a leadership that is really important, I think for the audience that I want are moms, parents, the leadership. How do we as parents instill all of that into our athlete? How do you instill just that killer? What do they call it? The dog. How do you instill that dog in our players?
Well, there's not one answer to that question. Let me say it that way.
Yes, ma'am.
But the parents, you have to let your son or daughter experience it, especially at that middle school, like the primary middle school grades. Parents, don't expect them to be the all-American 7th grader. That's not usual. Did we get a couple? But let them experience the pain of the workout. Let them experience the clear communication from the coaches. We've all had to go through, but today's a little different because not my child. Don't hurt my child like that. But your child can never be what they know they can be because you, parent, mom, dad, parent, guardian, you're saying, no, don't hurt them like that. Don't hurt her. It's not a hurt. That's life. That's life. So let them go. I mean, they'll tell you what's happening, okay? Because it's that parent relationship that parents have to establish. But the kid has to know that they're going to let me just go play. And when they come watch me play, let my coach coach me. Let my coach coach me. Because if you're coaching me from the stands and I'm supposed to be listening to the coach on the sidelines, you're confusing me. You're confusing me. I put it this way. The gym is my house. So you can't come to my house and start telling me how to move my furniture. So when I
Okay.
come to your house, I got to sit where you tell me. And I can say yes or no if I want something to drink. But I can't say, I think your pictures would look better over there.
Yeah, on this wall over here.
Yeah, on this one over there. Because it's
Mhm.
not my house. So we got to respect each other's house. The football field is your house. So parents, guardian, take it easy. Tone it down because the culture of our fan base, the culture of our parents, it has shifted to a side of negativity. It truly is. I'm being authentic,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
It has shifted to a side of negativity to where now coaches don't want to coach. It's hard to coach
It's
because
hard to coach.
it's hard to coach.
It's hard to coach. I mean, I gave it up for a couple, I gave it up for a couple years, and then my husband brought me back into it, and only because he asked me to was the only reason why I came back, because I had actually stopped coaching myself because it's just hard. Okay, so coaching is hard, parenting is hard. How does a parent navigate when when their child is being treated unfairly by a coach, when this child is clearly athletically better, talent skill wise is better, but not getting the opportunity to play over a player that's not as skilled?
Yeah, so now we get into some real conversation. Because so now we got perceptions going on,
Okay.
we got philosophies of coaches going on, and
Hmm.
we got the player thoughts of what's going on because the players in practice every day. See? So we don't know why a lesser talented player is playing over someone whose skill level is not even is
if
unmatched.
we're not if we're not
Yeah,
sitting in practice and
yeah,
seeing what's going on in
yeah,
practice.
yeah. So now though, the three of us or how many of it, we got to find out what is the root of this because there's something causing that to happen. Is it the board telling the coach you got to play this kid? It could be the board,
It could be the board.
right?
Now you got NIL, which kids are being paid, and
Yeah, yeah,
that's who we're paying, so that's who
yeah,
needs to be playing.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's factors that has to be communicated because if we go on perception and philosophies and only what our kids telling us, the story's all convoluted. It's wrong. We're taking all kind of turns that aren't even necessary. So this is why I say as coaches, even in that situation, the authenticity of a coach has to be there. You have to be consistent. If you're going to play the lesser player all the time, then keep doing it, right? Because you got to get to find out why this talented player is sitting on whatever bench it is, or why they're
Hmm.
not pitching, whatever sport. You
Right.
got to find, what usually happens, coach, is that there's all these perceptions happening. Everyone's making up their own story and their own results. They've already come to their own conclusion, and no one knows. No one
Gotcha.
knows.
Gotcha. Great. A great answer, Coach. So I'm gonna go back to the chat because Charity and Mr. Brown is actually just giving us some great engagement. Oh, Charity is funny. She said, help me with my seventh grader to take a bath.
Hey, just tell him he can't use that cell phone. He'll jump right in there.
I was getting ready to say that once cell phones came out and I was able to give my daughter a cell phone, I didn't have to discipline her ever again.
Yep.
All I had to do was like, give me a cell phone. She'd be like, what? And she would figure it out.
Yeah.
She would figure out what needed to be done.
Yeah.
And my house would end up being spotless. Oh, I missed it. Hold on. I got to go back and start because I can't where she's. Oh, I like what Monique said. Monique. Oh, by the way, you guys, she does have her book, and Monique put it in the chat, and I did put that link up here. So this is the link where you guys can go to Amazon and get her book, The Tremendous Leadership Lessons by Dr. Karen Hall, and make sure you guys go and support her because leadership is everything. As a parent, I mean, on any job that you're at, leadership is everything. And and y'all see the gems she's dropped tonight have been absolutely Um, Fantastic. Oh, he said, what is your take? I'm gonna go back to Charity because Charity has some good stuff. But he said, what is your take on the new Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson and Sean Payton unprofessionally confronting him on national TV?
Well, but leadership, it's on display. In sports, it's all on display. You can't hide it. Coach Payton, he had no problem outwardly belittling Russell Wilson. Remember, I said Coach Tomlin treats his players like men. That
Yes,
was
ma'am.
highly disrespectful. As a man, Sean Payton to Russell Wilson, totally disrespectful of who he is as a person, let alone who he is as a player. So totally disagree. Would you say that's poor leadership? Some people would be raising both hands. Absolutely.
Right.
Right? Some people would say, well, that's just who he is. He was being his most authentic self. Perhaps he was. But remember, flip the shoes. Let's flip those shoes. What's that? Empathy, kind of being empathetic, wearing somebody else's shoes. Flip that shoes. Flip the script. And then I think the player personnel, that's the recruiting in college in professional football, the leadership, all those tangibles we talked about, to pull in a Russell Wilson. I can only imagine the deep breath of a Russell Wilson when he touched down in Pittsburgh. A whole new chapter. He's now playing for a coach who has all these characteristic traits that an NFL player would want to play for. You know the old adage, run through the wall. We run through walls with coaches who we respect, who we know that they know what they're doing. And that is, I didn't see when Russell touched down, but based on what we've seen in Denver, it's a fresh start. Not even close. Not even close.
Same with Justin Fields. So Justin Fields and his mom, we went to school together. So I'm a huge Justin Fields fan, and I'm totally looking forward to Justin Fields taking on the Rams in the realms of quarterback in the future. And I think Charity might have mentioned, I think I saw her mention Justin earlier too, because again, I just felt like he wasn't given that same type of respect or opportunity in Chicago that I think that he'll get in with the Steelers.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely ecstatic when I saw that he was getting traded to even as the backup quarterback. I thought that was just a great move for for Justin to get another a great start. Charity said parents be embarrassing kids. They do.
They do.
They do. Be acting a fool on the sidelines. Yes.
And really, I call them adult tantrums because sometimes, as we say, you're trying to live through your kid. You've been that age. You had opportunity, right? But you cannot be on the sideline. Johnny, do this. Shoot the ball. You're open. Why are you passing it, Coach? Too much. That's not what we call fans. We don't call those fans.
Yeah, Charity said her friend, the coach, was literally got jumped by a group of parents, and the kids were crying.
Yeah.
I had an incident a couple of weeks ago. My husband coaches baseball. He's a baseball coach as well as a football coach, and he was coaching his 13U team. And I was there, and he had to take a player out, and the parent went off or something like that. And I told him, I said, babe, first of all, babe, we ain't got to deal with this. First of all, you ain't got to deal with this. They need you. You don't need them. And but I can see the kid kept looking back at his dad to tell him to shut up or to be quiet, because the kid was embarrassed by the dad and what the dad was saying. And the parent came up to me and apologized. But I told him, I said, first of all, look at my face. Don't you ever disrespect my husband again, because I'm not getting ready to play with you. and parents know they can't play with us. You can't come at us. Don't come at us. I'm talking about no playing time. No, don't talk about none of that. We talk about all that in a parent meeting. But again, the parents make it difficult. And even Mr. Brown said that officials don't even want to officiate. We're having a hard time getting officials because parents are getting they're just taking this stuff just too seriously. I get it. You want your child to go pro, to retire you, to take care of you, to take care of the family or whatever it is. But you're a college coach. You also recruit the family. And so when you go to a high school game and they see you up in the stands and they see you acting a fool, don't be mad when you don't see your kid get in the and then you're mad because I've seen that too.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of parents that are upset that these kids aren't getting the offers that they, but you bashing coaches on social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you crazy and loud in the stands, and you're distracting the kids in the stands because you're coaching from the stands. You know, I've seen it, coach.
Scholastic athletics is in jeopardy. Scholastic athletics is in jeopardy. But you said something, though. It goes back to leadership. You said that the parents know that they cannot play with you or your husband. Don't come to you about playing time. Guess what you're doing as a leader? Setting the tone. You set the tone for how your program's going to run. And if your kid comes in this program, this is how it goes. And that's what leadership is, though. You're influencing the culture. That's culture. This is how we're going to live in this culture. Coach Tomlin, that's how he lives in his culture. They all know. Right? But you just said it. Leadership is not asking the players, what do you want to do? That's not leadership. They don't need you if you're going to keep asking them, what do you want to do? They want you to say, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing, but sometimes this is what we're going to do. We're going to get on the bus at 6 o'clock. 6:01, we're pulling off. If you're running next to the door and knock, maybe I'll let the bus driver stop, but I'm probably going in. That's leadership, right?
Yes,
so now
ma'am.
we're teaching them about punctuality. Sports is a great lesson of life because we learn this early. Punctuality. And one thing I want to make sure I say about my book here and my chapter, sponsorship. So many times we talk about mentorship. Highly important. Highly important. But we all need champions. See, we all need champions to sponsor us to our next step. So we have the credentials. There's the position over there we want it. But you need a champion to vouch for you, to open doors. Mentors can be your friend. They can be your neighbor. Sponsors see something in us. They see
That we
something in us.
sometimes don't see in ourselves.
Yeah. And they say, you know what, come here. I like this person. So what are your plans? Because they have things in mind for you. But they're saying that they're going to open doors. That's what champions do for us. That's what sponsors do for us. So I challenge the audience and our viewers. Think about sponsorship. Statistics. Women are 3 times more mentored than sponsored. 3 times. Men are 2 times more mentored than and sponsored. Right? So men, they don't need to go to lunch to open doors for people. They see each other in the elevator. Hey, I want you to call this guy. Here's his card. Boom. Women got to go have coffee. Let's go have lunch. Okay, but time's ticking. What do you have for me? So sponsor someone. And it could be someone in your age group. It could be a younger person. It could be an older person. Everyone is where we are because someone opened the door.
I would not be coaching football if I didn't have my husband as the head coach to put me in a position to coach football, because there's nobody putting their wife on. First of all, I think we're definitely some of the first. So, but that is so important, and I've never heard it that way. Again, I've always heard the mentorship part, but never the sponsorship part. That is
we got to shift.
We have to start thinking with that.
There's so many talented men and women out here, and don't get me talk about Title IX, because that's where you went. But I ain't gonna go there. Okay?
I know.
But we have to recognize talent, and we have to recognize when people need just a little crack in the door. So I'm not on this podcast if I wasn't championed by Monique tonight.
Right.
Like that's all I'm saying. Everyone needs a champion, but we have to sponsor someone. But it can't be about us. If it's about us, that's not leading. That's not leading. Right? Again, we're serving leaders, servant leaders. How can we influence, impact, and change the lives of someone else? Or let's say make a difference in the lives of others that we serve.
Yeah, it could be like you said, Charity. It could be an unspoken sponsor to let someone open the door. Some, like you said,
Yeah.
just putting somebody on. Hey, I know such and such and such.
That's
You
it.
know, you need a good connect with her because it'll be a great avenue, and you don't know where that's going to lead to something else
I need
or
a
another
sponsor.
opportunity.
I need a sponsor. All I want to do is talk. That's all I want to do is talk.
That's all you want to do is talk, right? I mean, because your book is powerful and it's so back in the day, I think the leadership books was all John C. Maxwell, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, but it's nothing like getting it from our perspective.
Yeah.
Our perspective,
Yeah.
from a different perspective, from a different perspective. Okay, girl, we're already a hour in already. I knew it was gonna go fast. It always does. She said one of the white women on the board is fond of me. She always asks if I'm coming to Boston.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's always somebody that, again, she said, thank you. It's a joy. Absolutely. Because Monique knows everybody. Listen, y'all see Monique AJ Smith on here, and you want to get into anything in athletics, she probably knows somebody that's connected to whoever you need to know in athletics.
Chat in the garden. A chat in the garden.
Chat in the garden. Hey, Monique, go ahead and drop your podcast in there because I was the guest on her podcast a couple of weeks ago. It was really good.
Yes.
But she's been doing a podcast for 10 years. And yeah, she's had some powerful people on there. Just like a Doc. This is good, Doc. Good though, y'all. Oh, thank you. So thank y'all. So Dr. Hall, before we go, did we cover everything that you wanted to talk about? Is there anything that you've never had the opportunity to talk about publicly on a forum like this that you've been wanting to get off your chest? You could say it at this time, or if there's something that we missed that you definitely need to bring across, go ahead and address it at this time.
I'll be quick about it because what I would say to all of us here, don't be quick just to go to the same people that you know for the same result. There are so many people out there that we just put people in boxes because of our first impression. Give people an opportunity to get on a platform like this, to give them that first or second or even that season type level position. People can get it done if you give them opportunity. We all need it. And then I would say lastly is my book, 10 Tremendous Leadership Lessons, A Guide to Leadership Learning, takes a deep dive into your personal leadership. It's a deep dive into your leadership.
Show us what the book looked like, Dr. Hall.
Here it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Can you see it? Yeah, let's see. Here we go. There it is. 10 Tremendous Leadership Lessons, A Guide to Leadership Learning. And you can find it right under my name, Dr. Karen Hall, excuse me. But it takes a deep dive. And you can fool some people some of the time, but you can't fool yourself. I'm going to whoop, whoop, and drop that last gem right there.
Hey, that was, you can't fool yourself. You can't fool yourself. So, okay. And I know I just said we was wrapping it up, but I got one more question. Okay. What was your motivation behind writing the book?
Yeah, well, thanks for that question. So I say I don't have my own children, but I've coached all over the country. Those are my children. So my thought process is, what am I leaving the world? What's my legacy? So I have a book. That is my legacy because the book will last. So that was my motivation. I had my biography to write. Nope. I had my athletic coaching career to write. Nope. And then I had my education piece to write. Nope. Leadership will last beyond.
Absolutely.
That was my motivation because that will be my legacy that I get to leave behind.
Outstanding. Tasha Thompson said, love that response. So yeah, so hey, I love the legacy. I'm so grateful that you agreed to come on tonight. And thank you, Monique, again for connecting us. This was absolutely fantastic. Great conversation. I can't wait to come to Pittsburgh so we can go see Coach Mike Tomlin.
I'll
And
start working on that. I got a couple of people that can help make that happen. You
so
got
when
the
you
number.
so when you come across him, you let him know I got somebody that you need to meet, and she's a football coach, so you might want to, I don't tell him I don't want to be on the staff, I don't want to coach on that level, but I still want to meet him. But yes, definitely. Monique said that she loved the book. Monique, can you copy that link, and you guys put the link? It's up above here, but I don't have my glasses on. And make sure that you guys go to Amazon.com, and you can look up Dr. Hall.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn.
And you're on LinkedIn. She's on LinkedIn too.
Go to LinkedIn, friend me, and take a look, and you'll see my 4 careers that I mentioned earlier. Thank you.
Which career do you like the most?
What's that?
Which career do you like the most?
Oh gosh.
Is it hard to choose?
It's hard, but I love my athletic world.
I love athletics. Love athletics. Love athletics.
Even my professor job, I teach sports leadership and sports management to graduate and undergrad students. So I still get to stay in my love of athletics. Like I said earlier, at the middle is my athletics. So that's the answer. Final answer.
What college are you teaching at?
So I'm at Point Park University. Park University in downtown Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. And do you go to any of the Pittsburgh Passion games? Are you?
Well, I've been to a game. I've met some of the this season's players, and right, they had a playoff game, so I kind of helped.
Yes, they did.
Spread the word. So yeah, I mean, I'm a leader here in Pittsburgh for sports. Period. High advocate. I do a Title IX. It's called City of Pittsburgh Celebrates Title IX, and the mayor stamped me host. Like that was my brainchild. So it's coming up November 14th. This will be our 3rd year, but I'm the Title IX celebrating Title IX in Pittsburgh.
Oh, outstanding! Yeah, outstanding! Yeah. Charity said, I think my cousin was supposed to pay for them.
Oh, the Jeter! Oh my God, there's 80 million thousand Jeters. Yes, I know plenty of Jeters. That's a huge family in the Beaver Valley. Wow.
Okay, the last question: who is your favorite Steeler player? Even though you're a Cowboys fan.
Yeah. So I really love Lynn Swann. He was just talented, graceful. You can see the mindset working out there. Yeah, he was just all that in the bag of snaps.
Absolutely. Yeah. What's the Amen book club?
Gloria, that's Gloria.
Outlaw. She said, "Great job, Dr. Hall, as always."
She's in North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I shout her out because she shouted you out. Yeah.
Go ahead, Gloria.
I hope I didn't miss anybody. I love acknowledging everybody because I'm so thankful for you when you guys take the time out to come on and actually listen to the podcast. My Uncle Dale, thank you for coming on. So listen, we're gonna wrap this up. If you guys are in anywhere near Lexington, Kentucky, and you're couple hours away, shout me out because I love pulling up on people. Definitely shout me out. I love pulling up on people. My son plays for the University of Kentucky, so we don't go anywhere.
Football.
Mm-hmm. He plays football for the University of Kentucky. So it's hard not being a basketball fan living in Kentucky because it is this whole thing with Coach Cal is off the chain. But we have the 2 new coaches. Actually, this our new women's coach and a new men's coach here, and I'm excited for where the programs are going. And I'm excited about that. So don't log off, Coach Hall. We'll chop it up offline. But guys, everybody, thank you all for coming on. I appreciate you. Next week, I'm trying to think who I got. I know I'm booked for the next couple of weeks, and we're always going to have a great guest coming on. And so thank you all for your support. Make sure you go to and like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Hits and Heels, and also on Facebook, Hits and Heels, and like that for me. Give us a little shout out. Thank y'all, and we'll see y'all next time. Don't log off, Coach.
I got you.